Junk food supper.
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 Junk food
Junk
supper.
food supper.
Junk food supper.
Junk food supper.
Junk food supper.
Did you see that Bruce Campbell canceled on Monsterpalooza?
I did not see that. What's the reason? He's too embarrassed about this Evil Dead movie?
Yeah, he's too embarrassed, and he's
Can't show his face in public since that one guy was drunk or fell asleep or whatever and then shouted out something at the end of the screening.
yeah, he can't show his face in Hollywood ever again now.
Well, that makes sense. Well, that's
I
a
mean, I
bummer.
wasn't gonna. Yeah, it's a shame. I kind of just wanted to get a quick glance of him, you know.
Yeah, maybe see him smoking a cigarette outside with Lance Henriksen or something, but not actually pay for an autograph.
Yeah. But all right, we are record whenever you're ready.
All right, welcome to Junk Food Supper, episode number 4, I believe. I think that's accurate. This is the podcast that Parker Bowman and I put out every week, wherein we try and tide you guys over until our full-size junk food dinner episodes by reviewing a single movie and then talking about something else. So I am your host, Sean Byron, with your other host, Parker Bowman, sometimes known as Perky Beantown Bowman. And this week we'll be reviewing Repossessed, the 1990 spoof of The Exorcist / comedic sequel to The Exorcist, depending on how you look at it. And we'll be talking about something else before then. But since we're here at the top, I got to ask, I think it's my duty to ask, Parker Bowman, how you doing this week?
I'm doing great. It's been a big week for me, big exciting week. So I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I don't know if you saw on Facebook, I won a lot of awards.
I did see that, yeah. Fred Astaire himself presented you with a number of awards, and I thought that was real nice for a dead man to come back to honor you specifically.
Yeah, I was presented by the nicest, kindliest old man in the world, which was very nice of him to do. Yeah, it was exciting. We went to the awards, and I was hoping to win one award. I was like this is the first time I've gone to these awards. It's like the Central Valley's, you know, all the newspapers in the Central Valley here, which is like 8 counties or something. And it's my first time going in person. We've been doing it on Zoom since the pandemic started. And I was like, man, if I'm going all the way there in person, I hope I just win one. Like, I just want one. And because I've won a couple before, you know, so it's not outside of the realm of possibility that I would win something. And I ended up winning 4. So I was very excited. And I got to win in front of my old newsroom that laid me off like 5 years ago. And I beat them in all the categories, which is like the greatest thing you can do as a human. I feel like it's like the ultimate dunk. So, but I mean, those guys are all like super nice. So, I mean, it's like nothing like personal against them. But it wasn't like their fault. Like specifically, it was their bosses. But yeah, it was super fun. It was exciting. You know, a rare W in life.
That's awesome. And how many of those awards were specifically tied to your work on the Junk Food Dinner / Junk Food Supper podcasts?
One of them was. I got the award for best podcast segment. You also won this. It was both of us. They didn't inform you though, so I'm telling you now. It was best podcast segment where we roast the WWE title so hard that they changed the WWE title.
Yeah, so that really happened this past week. I'm like a week and a half late on my WWE, so I have not actually seen this segment, but I've seen it in GIF form, I guess, you know, via the Junk Food Dinner Discord. What happened? So Triple H came out and was just like, we heard the criticisms. You guys are sick of this belt that looks like it was bought at a Claire's at the mall.
Well, that's what I thought too. I didn't watch it in real time. I just saw like the Twitters and stuff. So I thought that they changed the belts that we roasted, like the 2 that Roman Reigns has, and like consolidated them into one cool looking belt, you know?
Yeah.
But that's actually not what happened. What they've done is much worse and maybe much stupider than they originally were somehow. So they decided that no one was ever going to beat Roman Reigns for the 2 belts he has. Because historically, WWE has 2 heavyweight like championship belts because they've got the 2 shows. SmackDown and Raw. And they just introduced a third one. So they're like, because Roman Reigns will never be beat, here's a third belt, and we're going to crown a champion soon. So
What the fuck?
yeah, it's like the craziest thing ever. It would be like if UFC was like, yo, Anderson Silva's too good, so we're just going to get a new belt. Like,
Yeah, it's almost like if the FTW belt was created by ECW as an organization. You know what I mean? To just be like, well, I guess this championship's out of reach, so here's a fake one. What the fuck?
It's really wild.
Maybe this is all some weird positioning that still does end up with like Roman Reigns out of the company, but he gets to keep those belts, you know? And if that's the case, all right, fine. Hey, we got this shiny new gold belt and somebody who's theoretically less boring to watch.
Yeah, could be. Could be like one of those situations, like how like Alundra Blaze took her women's championship to WCW in the 90s and then threw it in the trash. Like maybe they're just like trying to like, maybe Roman Reigns is going to quit. So they're like preemptively taking away his belt or something. Like, I don't, it's so baffling. It's so stupid.
Yeah, that's bizarre. Well, there's a reason that I'm like a week and a half late on my wrestling. It's been not the best lately.
Yeah, I saw on Serialized that you haven't logged any wrestling in a while.
It's true, and when I do, they're normally in the range of like 2 to 2.5 stars. And if you know me, I mean, that basically means that I'm clawing my eyeballs out.
True. Your grading curve is strange.
Well, speaking of sporting events, I did want to relay that within this past week, I did attend a Los Angeles Angels baseball game. And I did get a full bucket of Kathy's cookies. If you're not familiar, if you've never been to an Angels game, there's like a little food truck outside that makes these chocolate chip cookies. That's all that they got. They got cookies and little tiny cartons of milk. They're way overpriced. But the cookies are fucking delicious, man. You can get them by the bucket full. It's about 2 pounds of cookies, I think. It's like maybe 40 full-size chocolate chip cookies in there. I loved it. I was in heaven. Did I finish the entire bucket? Not at the game, but over the entire weekend I did. So I was proud of myself.
Yeah, I was very jealous of that picture. That's like a really good way to sell cookies. It's just throw them in a bucket. Like,
yeah,
they look like the McDonald's trick or treat buckets, kind of.
They got 2 options. You can get a sleeve or you can get a bucket. The sleeve is probably like 12 cookies or something, which is already more cookies than you need. I mean, I know that baseball is a long game, but 12 full-size chocolate chip cookies, I mean, you're going to be feeling it afterwards. But nobody likes to eat out of a sleeve, a paper sleeve. I need that cool plastic bucket with the cartoon cookie character printed on it.
Is it like a Pringles sleeve?
No, it's just like a piece of paper that's kind of like folded into like a cone shape. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might be eating French fries out of one of these if you were in Europe or something.
Okay. Now, you did mention something that is confusing to me. These Los Angeles Angels.
I know.
When did this happen? They're not in Anaheim? What's going on here?
They are in Anaheim, which is
not
only part of Los Angeles City, it's not even in the county of Los Angeles. It's in its own county. I mean, arguably maybe the second most famous county in California. You could have called them, the Anaheim Angels. You could have called them the Orange County Angels. But yeah, they renamed them because they were the California Angels when we were kids. Yeah. And then I think it's been probably 15 years or something, though, that they've been the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. That's how they officially call them.
That's very stupid.
It is very stupid, but they got a cool stadium that's got a big fake rock wall kind of a thing that launches fireworks anytime an Angel gets a run. And the games are way cheaper than the Dodgers, so that's nice too.
Yeah, that's always good.
Yeah.
So, well, all right, you got like fake Dodgers then. Do people just call them the fake Dodgers?
Pretty much. I mean, they got 2 great players right now. You know, for the past few years, they've had Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, 2 of the greatest players, maybe even in baseball history. But the team as a whole has been pretty shitty for like 20 plus years. So, I don't think that they have any postseason odds this year, but it's still a fun game to go out and watch.
What do you think about this Oakland Athletics news? Do you care about them moving to Las Vegas?
Yeah, I think it sucks. I mean, they've been in Oakland since the 60s, and they've got a fan base that loves them. Now, does that fan base show up for actual games? No, they've got the lowest attendance in baseball, worldwide. But so I get it from a financial standpoint. They'll probably make a lot more money in Las Vegas, but it sucks. And I don't think Vegas is like a sports town to me. I mean, maybe my view of Vegas is different, but like I would never travel to Vegas and then be like, all right, I'm going to go to a sports game. Yeah, it just seems kind of counter to the whole vibe of Vegas, which is like I should be indulging in the least healthy pursuits possible. Anything that has any glimpse of like athleticism or healthiness to it, I feel like get that out of Vegas.
I agree. Vegas is getting weird. It's getting a little too cute. Like even in just the years that I've been going there, it's like you're adding all these soccer teams and shit like this. It's like I don't know. You're removing the bronze statue of the butts. Like
Yeah.
let's bring in more butts. That's what I like Vegas for. Not
Well,
not less butts.
I mean, we all need more butts in Vegas, but I think we also need free parking in Vegas on the strip. And what I was reading this past week is that the reason that we don't have free parking at the casinos anymore is because of that football team that they moved there. Basically, they on purpose didn't build enough parking for this football team with the idea of, well, the casinos can just soak up the extra parking. And they said, okay, we'll do that, but now we're going to start charging for parking at the same time.
That's that's why we were getting screwed over with all the parking costs.
Yeah.
Stupid stadium. What? That's crazy. I mean, I guess it's like smart if you're building a stadium to just pawn your parking off on other people, I suppose. But it's a real dick move.
Yeah, it is a real dick move.
Yeah, parking was so great. You would just go wherever you wanted. You don't have, they've ruined Vegas. They're ruining Vegas. I'm calling it now. Vegas is ruined. It's over.
Of all the travesties that the NFL has committed, raising the price of parking in Las Vegas, I mean, this is unexcusable.
Yeah, that's like the best part of Vegas is that sometimes things are free. You don't get that in other cities.
And that's how they get you.
That is how they get you. Speaking of how they get you, they got me this week. The movie
really?
theaters got me. I saw a movie in a movie theater.
Yes.
I saw The Evil Dead. Have you heard about this?
Oh, so these are the dead who are, let's say, less than good. These dead.
Yeah, neutral evil on the D&D scale.
Okay. And you thought the movie was less than good, or didn't you?
Well, for the first half of the movie, I thought it was very bland and dumb. And then it kind of turns a corner and becomes like a real Evil Dead movie. And I was into it. I like it. I like it a great deal, I'll say.
I like that movie quite a bit.
Okay, all right. I guess he likes it too. Did they pull it like a Scream 5 kind of a thing where they're like, we're in New York City now?
It's actually in Los Angeles. So kind of.
Okay, all right. But they're in a big city now.
They are in a big city. They're in like a big apartment. They don't really go outside of the apartment, but there is an earthquake, so it is identifiably LA. Also, there's like Anaheim Angels posters everywhere. So
Of course, yeah. That's how you know that it's LA.
Yeah.
The team that every Angelino roots for. Is this apartment building on the opposite side of a unusable bridge?
It is not. No, sadly, there's no bridge. There's no Delta 88.
What the heck?
But there's an Necronomicon, and there are evil monsters.
That's pressed on vinyl, famously.
It is pressed on vinyl. And there's like some of the stuff they do with like the records is like really cool. Like there's like really cool sound design, but then there's like one point where like, I don't know, not to give anything away, but there's like one like really like horrible thing that they do with the record player that's like very silly and cringy.
Well, I mean, I'm probably not going to watch this thing in the next maybe even 10 years. It's going to be a while, unless you force me to. So do they justify, because, we all had a lot of fun with the trailer and the fact that like, who would be taking their scientific analyses, that their voice notes, their voice memos, and pressing them to records. Is that explained, or
It
it's
is
just
explained.
okay?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I think that was like a thing that like people used to do in the olden times. Is like it was like really easy to just record yourself to a record. Like maybe when they were like records were wax or something like that. Like I think that was a thing. So it's not like they had to like take their recordings down to the vinyl factory like you would have to do nowadays. I don't think. So it is
Okay.
explained.
Doesn't really sound like it's really explained, but
It's a little bit explained. I mean,
Okay.
it's explained enough to where I wasn't like mad about it. The
all
way
right.
I was mad about in 2013 when that high school history teacher starts reading Sanskrit, like like that made me really mad. So I wasn't that mad watching this one.
Is the movie just kind of a metaphor for drug addiction this time?
It's a metaphor for motherhood this time.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what we all want from our Evil Dead movies, is a lot of metaphors.
Well, yeah. It's not near like that last one was like all metaphor. It was like if you weren't into this metaphor, then the movie had nothing for you. This one's just a little bit of metaphor, and mostly it's like scary monsters. So I think it's worth watching. I think it's fun.
Okay, all right. I'll keep it in mind. I'm surprised you didn't see that the new Ari Aster movie instead. The Bo is Not Afraid, or whatever. Or Bo is
Yeah.
Afraid? Is he afraid? I'm not even sure.
He is afraid. I
Okay.
think he's afraid. It's only playing in Fresno, so I haven't gone yet, but I want to go see it.
You saw it on the calendar and you said, Fresno way. I'm not going up there.
That's exactly what I said. But also, real quick on the Evil Dead note, after I watched it, I liked it so much. I was like, I need more Evil Dead in my life. So I went back and started watching Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yeah.
And I need to apologize to Kevin because I've been hating on this. I know he likes it, and I've been hating on it and kind of picking on him for liking it. But it's kind of good. It's a lot better than I thought it was the first time around.
Oh, hell yeah.
I apologize. I apologize, Kevin. It's pretty all right. Have you watched much of that show?
No, just the first episode. And I was like, okay, I get this. And some people are going to have fun with this, but this is not my Evil Dead. So I tuned out.
Yeah, that's understandable. The show's very much like that, but like the whole rest of the show. But there's like some fun stuff. I think season 2 is a lot better than the first season.
All right. Well, speaking of seasons 2, should we get into our topic for tonight?
Oh, hell yeah. So this topic is a very strange and nebulous thing that I came up with because I couldn't think of a topic for such a weird movie that we're watching because we like to tie them in together. But the movie we're watching later, Repossessed, it's like you said earlier, it's a parody of The Exorcist, but it's also kind of a sequel to The Exorcist, which is very strange. So I was thinking, are there any other movies, to say nothing for the quality of Repossessed, are there any movies that we think that are not horror movies that could potentially have cool comedy, or that are not comedies, that could have potentially good comedy sequels?
Thank God you said, not comedies, that you clarified there, because I was looking at my list. I'm like, oh boy, I've only got 2 horror movies here. So
yeah, movies, like Evil Dead 1, total horror movie. Evil Dead 2, kind of a comedy. So it has worked at least once. So I don't know. Not that these need to be horror movies. I think both of mine kind of are. But yeah, so I don't know. Maybe it's possible. So
maybe it worked great in 1990 with Leslie Nielsen and Linda Blair. I mean, who's to say? We'll find out later.
We will find out. So there could be at least 2 that it worked for. So my first one, I'll lead us off since this was my wacky idea. I was thinking that there could be a sequel to the movie, the hit Alfred Hitchcock movie, Psycho. Kind of picks up like the real sequel, picks up a few decades later. Um, I've recast Norman to make this a comedy. So I got rid of what's his face. I got Chevy Chase in here now. It's
Okay.
Norman Bates.
We're talking like 1990s Chevy Chase, or certainly not current day.
Not current day. I think that this would be like right after Nothing But Trouble. Like that kind of Chevy Chase where like he's trying weird stuff and he doesn't really care about his career anymore.
Okay.
That's kind of the tone I would go with for this. And so the plot of the movie, he's been released from prison after his horrible murders. And now he's a little bit reformed. He just wants to get out of the hotel business. He wants to go and retire in Boca Raton, Florida. But his mom, who's still inside of him, via being his other personality, she just wants to go back to work at the hotel. So it's like a road trip movie, but whenever Chevy Chase is Norman, they're going towards Florida. He's having a good time. He's not doing any crimes. But then Mother takes over. She starts driving back west, killing a bunch of people on the way. And it's like a back and forth road trip movie. That's my pitch. Would you see this movie, Sean Byron?
Seems like Kevin thought it was funny. Yeah, I like this idea. and I like how you've structured it with the back and forth. And I can already see now, the montage scenes where we've got like the overhead map, with the little red line on it that's being animated. And then you're intercutting into like, murder scenes versus, just Norman getting a cone of ice cream, and stuff like this, real wholesome stuff on one hand, and then some real Ghoul Summer style kill scenes on the other hand.
Yeah. There's like got to be like a scene where like he gets pulled over for like having like a taillight out or something. And there's like 7 dead bodies in the back seat, and like Mother's trying to come out while he's fishing for his registration or something like that. Real wacky stuff.
It's almost like that cross-country murder spree movie that you love that Bobcat Goldthwait made, right? What was that one?
What's
Something
it? America. Yeah. God Bless America. Yeah.
From your favorite director.
Maybe this movie's not, maybe my Psycho movie's not good anymore.
I like it. I think that's really fun.
Well, thank you. I'm going to try to get some funding to get this made.
Oh, we should actually mention now, and maybe we should have mentioned this before you even gave your pitch, and maybe I will go and edit it and put it ahead of time. But these are all copywritten. This is patent pending. Nobody out there steal our pitches, because we'll come after you and we will explore other options.
Oh, yeah. We'll explore all the other options. I don't want to see Psycho 2 Road Trip out there on VHS shelves anytime soon, unless I'm making it.
Exactly. Okay, I've got one. And to be honest, this was kind of hard to put together because I was thinking, the past couple nights about this and going through a lot of movies, and everything I thought of, I'm like, well, there already is kind of either, if not a comedic sequel, there's already a spoof of this. You can't do Silence of the Lambs. There's already Silence of the Hams. You can't do Top Gun. There's already Hot Shots, and not to mention like thousands of Leslie Nielsen movies that, parody specific other horror movies or action movies. And there's like a ton that are like just kind of close, like Kingpin is kind of like that Harrison Ford movie Witness. Monty Python's Life of Brian is kind of like The Last Temptation of Christ. Even Repossessed is actually not the first parody of The Exorcist. There's a movie called The Exorcist Italian Style from 1975 that was made over in Italy just a couple of years after the original. So there's a ton of these. And so I was trying to come up with something that was unexplored up until now. And I think I found one, maybe. I mean, you tell me if this has already been done, but here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Pet Sematary Part 4. And here's my plot. So we got an overworked zookeeper at the Bronx Zoo who's, he's overworked. He's exhausted from all of his zookeeping duties there in the city. And he wants to take a leisurely vacation up in rural Maine, get away from the hectic life of city-based zookeeping. But wouldn't you know it, after he settles in up in Maine, he finds out that somebody had accidentally built a pet cemetery on top of an ancient circus burial ground. And before you know it, the whole damn state of Maine is crawling with zombie elephants, zombie lions and tigers, zombie lion and tiger tamers, zombie schlitzies. All the critters of the circus have returned from the bowels of hell. Maybe we work in something where this guy specifically hates the circus too. It's that kind of old zookeepers versus circus men rivalry that we all know so much about. And maybe in the end, in order to defeat the circus creatures of the Pet Cemetery, he'll have to go against all of his feelings about the circus and call in the real Barnum and Bailey, who come out of retirement and dust off their old elephants and lion tamers and take the old train up to Maine and do battle. And also it's a comedy.
I love this. I love the idea of getting Barnum and Bailey involved as action heroes, or like Van Helsing types. I've not heard of any movies like this. Well, there is Zombies, which is a movie about a zombie outbreak at a zoo, but it's like mostly monkeys and stuff, not really circus animals.
Okay.
And it's also like an asylum made for Sci-Fi Channel movie. So I'm literally the only person who's heard of that movie, so I wouldn't worry about it at all. Yeah, I think this sounds good. I think you can finally bring some prestige back to not only the Pet Cemetery franchise, but just Stephen King in general with this. I think this would be pretty good. Kind of revitalize that guy's career.
And hopefully, all of the, overworked zookeepers out there in the world, they can connect with this and feel like, hey, I'm being represented on screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Zookeeper inclusivity, I think, is very important. So I would see this movie for sure. Nice. Well,
you'll see it when I make it and not before then, because as I said, patent pending.
Mm-hmm.
You got one more for me?
I got one more. This is the big one. This is the one that's, I think we can probably get this funded pretty quick. Probably win some Oscars for this one. It's going to be a sequel to my favorite movie in the world, Blowout. Now this one picks up quite a few years later.
It's called Blowed Out or something? Blew Out?
I don't know. I couldn't find a funny pun for it, so maybe we can workshop that part. Right now, I'm just working title is Blowout 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo, of course. So my man John Travolta. Spoilers for Blowout here a little bit. But over the course of the original Blowout, John Travolta is a guy who he collects like sound effects that he uses for horror movies, like people screaming and things like that and other sound effects. And he, at the end of or at some point in that movie, he gets a real scream from a real dying person and inserts it into like a silly, like Jim Wynorski type horror movie. And that's like kind of the plot. So years and years later, that has revitalized his entire career. And the only way he can keep his career going is by doing that over and over. Get real screams, but he's not a murderer. So he like goes around town leaving manholes open, like kind of causing people to die. Like he'll go to like a bathhouse and like put like radios on the corner of all the baths, like the flimsy ones that might fall in, stuff like that. Trying to record the perfect screams. And he's got a PA, a production assistant, that follows him and helps him out, played by, of course, David Spade. I think he would be perfect for this role.
Oh.
And I imagine this probably takes place in like the late 90s for some reason. So that's probably why. So this is Blowout 2. My man just goes around doing wacky stunts to try to get people to die so he can record their screams. Okay, I'm glad Kevin likes it.
and yeah, I mean, he's not alone. I like this as well. It's a unique concept. I don't think anything like this has ever been pursued before. There is no asylum version of this, I don't think. And I like the idea of these wacky antics.
Okay, I'm glad you're on board. But what's your second movie here? Your last movie?
I got one more here. It's the grandson of Frankenstein. So the pitch here is, Frankenstein's monster is a real ass grandpa now, feeling almost as old as the mummy. And when the bride leaves him for the Wolfman, he has to move in with his adult son, the son of Frankenstein, and the titular grandson of Frankenstein, who is sort of a Bart Simpson meets baby Sinclair dinosaur meets Frankenstein sort of a kid. He's got a rude toot, and on top of, all the usual bolts and whistles, he's also got kind of a Dexter's Lab attitude in that, even though he is a Frankenstein's monster, he also wants to be a Frankenstein's doctor. He's very interested in mad science. He wants to start raising the dead through the power of bad weather. And of course, his dad and grandpa are against the idea, afraid that it will cause even more confusion in the Frankenstein versus Frankenstein's monster debate. It's just going to be kind of a family comedy for all generations. I think all generations of Frankenstein fans can enjoy this. And don't even tell me that we already got a young Frankenstein, because this has got a young, old, and middle-aged Frankenstein all in one.
I like that. I like the generations of Frankensteins. I think that's heartwarming and wholesome. And there's just not enough Frankensteins out there, and not enough Frankenstein movies that address the linguistics of whether or not Frankenstein is also named Frankenstein. So I look forward to this a great deal.
Yeah. And again, patent pending.
Yeah. Also, of course, Frankenstein's monster is named Frankenstein. Like, what else would he be called? Like, it's a family name. His dad, you get your dad's name when you're born. Like, that's how it works. Of course his name's Frankenstein.
Yeah, I mean, they're not calling him Dracula, right?
Yeah. You wouldn't just give him some arbitrary different last name. His name isn't...
You can't just assign vampirism to anything you don't understand.
Well, that's true.
Actually kind of made sense.
Yeah. Why are they naming them after Dracula, though, for God's sake?
Exactly. Well, speaking of people named Dracula, should we check in with our Dracula-based listener base?
Absolutely. We do have a voicemail this week. It's from one of our favorites.
Please welcome me a sweet man.
You're so sweet. You're so sweet. You're so sweet.
A good practical joke to play at your funeral is to when they're about to lower the coffin into the ground, the song "Alive" by Pearl Jam starts playing, and then the homeless person that you paid before you died to get plastic surgery to look exactly like you pops out of the coffin to surprise everyone.
Oh.
Because in fact you had been cremated.
All right. Guess that's it. Thank you, Mia. We're going to need to pursue other options on this, because the idea of playing Alive at your funeral is a joke that I used quite a lot in the early days of Pool Party Radio, and that I stole from my friend John Holmes, who invented the joke. And I just used it as my own joke for a long time because I had a podcast and he didn't. So there's nothing he could do about it. But now I am going to have to sue Mia because that's my joke. And I'm actually going to do it.
has a podcast of her own, so
yeah, nothing she can do. And I'm actually going to be doing this. That's also part of why it's mine, is I plan on dying before John Holmes. So I'm going to do this at my actual funeral, and it's going to be my joke forever. I think it'll be worth it. So that's all our voicemails this week. They were good ones.
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, I'm a little bit disappointed that there were no voicemails congratulating you on all your victories at the Central Valley Newspaper Awards, but
yeah,
maybe next week.
Hopefully next week. Or voicemails letting us know if you like Evil Dead or Ash versus Evil Dead or Evil Dead Rise. I would be curious to know. I've heard a lot of good things from people about this Evil Dead Rise, so I wonder if it's very universally beloved. It seems like it.
Or pitch us a comedic sequel to a non-comedic movie, or tell us if you would watch any of the four that we pitched.
That's a good plan too. Let us know, people. We got to know. But yeah, so I guess we'll take a break then before we launch into this movie.
Cool. Sounds good. Yeah.
Yes, all right, so stick around. We'll be back.
Let's
Oh, my
Start
pretty
over.
little. I love you. So I stroke it, I pet it,
JunkFoodDinner.com is the world's oldest and sexiest website.
and massage it.
JunkFoodDinner.com is the world's oldest and sexiest website.
I get all excited. Yeah, I love my little naughty pet. You're naughty.
The world's oldest and sexiest website is JunkFoodDinner.com.
And then I take my naughty pet.
The world's oldest and sexiest website is JunkFoodDinner.com.
This is It America, the event you've all been waiting for. Hi, I'm Mean Gene Oakerlund along with Jesse the Body Ventura, bringing you the ultimate confrontation of good against evil.
Now, there's a man out there who many years ago banished me from the very soul I now possess. He humiliated me. And now, I've come back to settle matters. And I'm not leaving until I have his stinking, rotting soul. Brother, may I? Where are you? I know you're watching, because this is Wednesday night, and everybody knows the other networks don't have dick to watch tonight. So do we do battle again? Or do you cherry out and let me keep this soul forever? What do you say, may I?
No! My God, you may not!
The Bell from Hell versus the Dove from Above in a one-soul anything-goes matchup, Jess.
You call this a tip, you cheap bastard? It doesn't get any better than this, Mean Gene, but everyone knows May I's got a bad ticker. He doesn't stand a shot in hell.
Not long ago, an entire world watched as a little girl and a holy exorcist battled and cast out the devil himself. But now, Linda Blair's been repossessed. And this is the only man who could possibly save her. Leslie Nielsen.
I couldn't find my butt with both my hands.
Linda Blair.
God created man in his own image.
Then how do you explain Pee Wee Herman?
Repossessed.
Of course I love you, yeah. Tonight, no. No feathers, we'll use the whole chicken.
Remember, his opponent is a woman. Nice tit, sure, but a face I wouldn't want to wipe my feet on.
Coming soon.
All right, welcome back to Junk Food Supper, episode, we think 4. We're still trying to figure that out, still trying to be sure of that. But what we are sure of is that the movie that we're reviewing this week is Repossessed from 1990, directed by Bob Logan, starring Linda Blair and Leslie Nielsen. And as we mentioned before, this is an Exorcist spoof/sequel. And I like, actually, that this is sort of an attempt at a sequel, for the most part, rather than just being a spoof, rather than just rehashing the events of, the movie that it's spoofing, which it does do that to some extent. But there's some sequel stuff in this, too, that I think does make it kind of interesting. But first, let's talk a little bit about this director, director Bob Logan. I've got his Wikipedia page in front of me. Bob Logan, also known as Bobby Logan. Oh, okay, that's cool. That's a nice little bit of detail there. Wikipedia is an American film and TV producer, writer, and film director. Prior to working in feature films and TV, he wrote material for a lot of comedians, including Joan Rivers, Gary Shandling, Rodney Dangerfield, Sam Kinison, and Arsenio Hall. And also, besides writing and directing, he taught aspiring filmmakers how to make their own low-budget feature films through his one-day $99 film school. I guess among the school's graduates is Apple's co-creator, Steve Wozniak. So that's kind of interesting. But this guy did not make a whole lot of movies, despite the fact that he was charging people money to teach them how to make movies. It seems like the only things he made were a video called Life in the Bowling Lane that I'm assuming is like some kind of instructional video. A movie called Up Your Alley that I'll talk about in a second. Another video called How to Get Revenge, one called Video Psychiatrist. This movie, Repossessed, in 1990. Meatballs 4 a couple years later in 92.
A classic.
And then, yeah, debatably a classic. And then a couple of TV pilots that I guess didn't really go anywhere. But that Up Your Alley credit, I think, may explain some of how this happened, because Up Your Alley is a 1989 romantic comedy starring Linda Blair, and the screenplay was co-written by this director, Bob Logan, and Murray Langston, who you might know better as the Unknown Comic, who I guess co-stars in that with Linda Blair, along with comedians Ruth Buzzy, of all people, and Bob Zaney. So that's who this guy is, Bob Logan. And I guess why he made this is that he was just coming off this project with Linda Blair and a bunch of his comedian friends. And he was able to convince her, like, hey, we could make a funny movie. I'm a funny guy. And I guess she had a good time making Up Your Alley. And so she agreed. As for Leslie Nielsen, he did this between Naked Gun 1 and 2.
Not to interrupt, but also that How to Get Revenge thing that you mentioned also stars Linda Blair.
Oh, okay. So this would be the third in a series of movies that they would make together, I guess. Maybe they were friends. I don't know. Maybe he had blackmail materials on her. Like, nobody knows the reasons for sure why she agreed to be in this, but we do know that she agreed.
That's actually pretty possible. I've not seen the entire How to Get Revenge, but I've seen some clips of it. And there's a part in that movie. It was like a short instructional thing where one of the ideas that they give you on how to get revenge on somebody is if that person is Hispanic, you can call the authorities and have them deported.
Kevin, that's not funny.
Not funny, Kevin. So if that's the kind of funny revenge that they're doing and like letting people know that they should also do, then he probably does have some serious blackmail stuff on Linda Blair. It seems like the kind of thing he would go for.
It could just be that he, told her, hey, if you're not in Repossessed, I'm going to give a wider release to these earlier movies that we made together. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
She was, I guess, kind of on the down slope of her career, I suppose you could say, although at this point in time, she was making movies that I like. I mean, she did this in between Grotesque and Zapped Again. So she's still doing fun stuff. And Leslie Nielsen, he's doing this between the first two Naked Gun movies. So he's still in top form, quote unquote, or at least I feel like the public has not yet tired of his shtick. Like this could have theoretically been a hit, I think. And believe it or not, this was theatrically released. It got a pretty limited run, I guess, in September of 1990 from New Line Cinema. It was then released on videotape and Laserdisc by Live Home Video the same year. Then in 2003, Artisan released it on DVD. Lionsgate did the same in 2009, and then again in 2011. So I guess that means collectors of this film can triple dip themselves with 3 separate discs of this movie and a videotape too, if you really want to go all in on it. As for awards, the film won a Razzie Award, the Golden Raspberry, for Worst Original Song for the song He's Coming Back, The Devil, which is sort of part of why I wanted to watch this. Besides my goal of closing out the Mean Gene filmography, I feel like Dracula Dead and Loving It is the go-to reference when you want to talk about Leslie Nielsen's bombs. But that's got a 5.8 rating on IMDb, and this has a 4.8. And, I just kind of wanted to know, like, could this possibly be that much worse than Dracula Dead and Loving It? When in this movie, they don't even really explain why.
Why are they fighting Dracula, for God's sakes?
It's been out there for so long. I feel like it's a movie that nobody talks about. And then you look at Leslie Nielsen's filmography, and it's like, oh, shit, this guy made a whole bunch of bombs. Like, this is not unusual for the guy to be bombing this hard because, I mean, just looking at movies that are rated on Letterboxd higher than this, I mean, you've got Dracula Dead and Loving It, you've got Wrongfully Accused, Rent-A-Kid, Family Plan, Santa Who, Spy Hard, and dozens of other movies that I've never even heard of that are rated higher than this. And then this does come in pretty close to the bottom of the pool, though. Like, there's only a few starring roles for him where, the movie got a lower rating. Those include Camouflage from 2001, which I've never heard of, 1997's Mr. Magoo, which I had blocked out of my mind. I completely forgot that he made one of those. And then in the year 2000, he made a movie called 2001, A Space Travesty, that I think is maybe his lowest rated movie, but I've never seen it, didn't know about it. But yeah, the guy specialized in making these movies that apparently bombed really hard. And, this one seemed to appeal to me. So let me talk about the actual plot a little bit, I guess. The actual plot of this involves, of course, Linda Blair from The Exorcist. She's playing Linda Blair from The Exorcist, or actually, she's playing a character named Nancy in this, which I guess is kind of a funny joke that they named her Nancy instead of Reagan. But it's probably also partially like a copyright skirting thing, I'm guessing, that they could make it just different enough if the character names are different. But it's a joke, I suppose, right?
Yeah, I think that counts as a joke.
Yeah, I think it counts. So the plot, most of the plot takes place about 17 years after the events of The Exorcist, and wouldn't you know it, she's been repossessed by the devil. And they do a thing where they really underscore the moment where they finally say aloud the title of the movie, which I did think was kind of funny. Anyhow, Leslie Nielsen plays the priest who saved her before, back in the early 1970s, but he's too scared to save her again. So some young priest has to take the case, but he sucks. So eventually Leslie Nielsen will jump in to save the day. And in the meantime, you got a Jim and Tammy Faye Baker, pair of televangelists who find out about Linda Blair's repossession and try to cash in on it. The Jim Baker guy is played by Ned Beatty, and Ned Beatty's good in everything, and he's even good in this. So fun to see him. All of this builds to a exorcism TV telethon segment, which I thought was maybe one of the highlights of this. It's got this this stage that looks like a real telethon set, with the phone banks and the tally board and stuff like that. And then not too long after that, you get the actual exorcism climax of the movie, which is the only time that Leslie Nielsen and Linda Blair are actually in the same room in this movie. And I think maybe even then they weren't. I'm not sure. I can't remember seeing them side by side. But you also got some cameos, besides Mean Gene Oakerlund, the whole reason that I picked this. You also got Jesse Ventura together with him. You got some fitness dudes in this. You got Jake Steinfeld, who's the Body by Jake guy, and Jack LaLanne, who's the old-timey fitness dude that you remember seeing on talk shows. Speaking of talk shows, you got TV talk show host Wally George, as well as comedians Bob Zaney and Murray Langston. Oh, and you also got a very nude Julie Strain. She makes a cameo in this.
Yep.
And on occasion, you got some very fun/funny background gags, sort of like a Zucker movie. There's some signage at the church that describes a express lane for the confession booths, where it's like 8 sins or less. You can get into this express lane. I thought that was kind of funny. The hospital in the movie has a giant muffler man type statue, like those roadside advertising statues that you would see for like a muffler repair shop or whatever. But instead of holding a muffler, he's holding a giant syringe. I thought that was a fun little background gag. And a few of the jokes in this are actually funny. Like there's one part where Linda Blair says to a priest, "Oh, I think I'm being possessed by the devil." And the priest replies with, "The devil?" Which I thought that was actually funny. And, overall, I would say it's not a bad looking movie, despite being done cheaply and quickly, which you can tell, but it still has like a reasonable level of professionalism. The cast and crew on this are all old pros. If you click on any crew member's name on IMDb for this movie, you'll see dozens of credits, including a lot of stuff that we've reviewed on the show. So, these guys knew how to make a movie, and it's not completely amateur. But at the same time, most of the jokes are some of the absolute most groan-inducing jokes of all time. There's, they do this elevator blowjob joke that I think is from like a Penthouse forum or whatever, where, the punchline is, "Excuse me, are you getting off?" And, the guy makes the face because he is getting off. He's getting a blowjob in the elevator, don't you see?
Ah, now I get it.
Yeah, it was rough. And I think that there's also a fair amount of jokes in this, which are not, groan inducing, but they're just kind of like, okay, you made a joke. All right. Good try. Like, nice attempt. Very rarely does it ever raise to the level of being funny. But I will say it was probably less actively annoying than Ready to Rumble. So it's got that going for it. Like, fewer people like screaming directly into camera.
Mm-hmm.
It is sad to me that Leslie Nielsen is not very funny in most of this, because he is so funny in Airplane and Naked Gun and stuff like this. I feel like he agreed to do this movie in a German accent without really thinking about whether or not he could do a German accent. I think that's a German accent. It's some kind of an accent. Whatever it was awful.
Or whether that was even needed for the movie, because I mean,
doesn't add anything. He's not good at it. It's not funny. He probably would have been much more comfortable just delivering the lines normally, and I would have enjoyed that as well. But on the flip side, there is that scene where Leslie Nielsen is dressed up like Billy Idol with those tight leopard print pants. And I think that's just an incredible moment in film history. And that's probably one of this movie's highlights, is just all of those scenes in which it's just a series of costume changes for Leslie Nielsen. I think those are actually legitimately fun. Do you need a 80-minute movie wrapped around those, most of which is horrendously poorly written? No, of course not. But I mean, I guess that's how you get these, is you got to wade through all that crap to get to those few moments that are worth it. And, I think those few moments also do include just kind of the general, conceit of this movie, wherein you have an adult Linda Blair recreating these scenes from, the early 1970s when she was young. I think that's kind of fun. And it's fun seeing her in this makeup again and doing these things. And, I think that she's good at that and looks like she's having fun for the most part. So that's all good. And I think some of this music in this is kind of fun. I guess it's from a guy named Charles Fox, who also, among other things, worked on the Green Slime. But there's a lot of original stuff in this that was written specifically for the movie. And whenever they take the time to do that, I do appreciate it, even if the results are mixed. And I think the results here are pretty mixed. Like that rap song that the one actor has to try and deliver is god awful. But again, it's fun that they did it, I guess. And it's fun that Mean Gene's in this. I guess I should shout him out, him being the whole reason that I picked this. But I think it's a pretty good appearance for Mean Gene. At first, I was real worried that he was just going to be in it for like 10 seconds, because they show him real quick and then they cut away and then he's not back for a minute. And I was like, oh no, was that all? But we probably get a few minutes of his time. And I think that they use him decently. I mean, he's only he's in one shot. Basically, they clearly just filmed this probably on a WWE set, I'm guessing, but just in like a 10-minute span or something. They just fed these guys lines and didn't have them move around or do anything. But the lines are funny. It's funny to see them making fun of wrestling, which is something that I think you wouldn't really get today. Like two guys that are under contract, with Vince McMahon, kind of making fun of the sport and making fun of steroids and wrestling and stuff like that. And so even saying tits, for Mean Gene to say nice tits, that's kind of funny. Didn't expect that. So I do think that this is worth it for all those mean geniacs out there, but otherwise, this is probably a fairly skippable spoof. And if you are a Leslie Nielsen fan, be careful, because this might damage your opinion of the man. If those 5,000 other terrible movies he made didn't do that for you already.
Yeah, I remember this movie from my childhood. It seems like they showed it on Comedy Central like every single day for a long, long time. And so I remember it from that. But then when I started watching this, I was like, man, I don't really remember anything from this movie. Despite the fact that I'm sure I saw bits of it and it was on all the time. And then I came to the realization that I don't remember any of this because I would see it on all the time and then immediately change the channel, because even at like 10 years old, I could recognize that this was not funny or good in any way. Although, when I first sat down to watch it, I was like, man, this movie's going to be really funny, because the opening prologue, there's a gag where Leslie Nielsen falls down the stairs, kind of reminiscent of how the original Exorcist ends. And it's like, we see it in like a wide shot, and we see that it's like a very short staircase. It's like 7 stairs or something like that. But the way they shoot it, like they do it like from like when you finally see him fall down the stairs, they've shot it from like 20 different angles, and then they edit them all together. So you see each and every one. So it goes on for like a minute and a half of him just falling down these 7 stairs. And I was like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. This is going to be a great movie.
And but that was the final time that you laughed.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, there's just like, I should have kept better notes on what I didn't find funny, but like, there's just like there's so many dated references in this, like that would have been dated at the time. Like there's like an Ollie North reference that wouldn't have been very funny by the time this came out. There's like, Linda Blair is like going to leave, like she's running away from Leslie Nielsen, and he's like, "Where are you going?" And she's like, "I'm going to Disneyland." It's like that was like probably 12 years old of a reference at this time. Or Disney World, perhaps. She says one of the two. Like that commercial from the 70s, I think. And yeah, there's like a lot of stuff that's like just not a joke at all, but like they mug to the camera. So it's like it's like when a new stand-up comic, like you go see like an open mic, and like they do like joke cadence, but there's not actually a joke. Like they just like take the cadence of jokes. It's like a lot of this movie's like that. And yeah, like they don't really comment too much on The Exorcist, really. Like there's not like a lot of straight parody of The Exorcist, like you might imagine. I mean, like they do like the throwing up from time to time, but that's really about it.
From time to time. I mean, that's like every other scene.
You're right. There's a lot of throwing up. But like that's really like the only part that like they kind of like the neck twist thing they do. But like even then it's like not a joke. Like they just do it. Like she turns her head around to tell the people sitting behind her to shut up. And then, yeah, most of this is like, like the two things don't really coalesce. Like you said, like it feels like Linda Blair's doing her movie and then Leslie Nielsen's doing his. And then like they don't really meet up at all. Like, and then Leslie Nielsen's half is really bad because Leslie Nielsen is very funny. But if you go back and watch Airplane and Naked Gun, the reason why he's funny is because he's playing the role of Frank Drebin like it's a real cop movie. Like he plays it 100% super straight, and everything around him is absurd, and that's why it's funny. And he's saying absurd things, but super straight. So in this movie, and a lot of the movies you mentioned that fucking suck that he's in, he's doing silly shit. And that's like the opposite of what makes him funny. Like for the most part, like I've seen him be silly a little bit, and he's funny. Like he would always like take his little like fart machine on Conan O'Brien and stuff, and like that's funny. But he's so over the top in this. Like you said, he's got like costume changes all the time. He's like making Tex Avery faces at like boobies for most of the runtime, and it's like over the top Leslie Nielsen is not the Leslie Nielsen you want, especially in something like this where like, if he was playing this very, very straight and then letting Linda Blair and the other priest like do the silly shit, and like just like the idea that there is a possessed Linda Blair in the movie, like be the absurdity and then him be the straight man, it would be very good, I'm sure. Like, or at least better. But they don't do that. Instead, they spend like they do like a 20-minute montage in an aerobics club, like with no jokes, just a montage, like where they just like, I mean, I guess there's like attempts at jokes. Like there's a scene where like Leslie Nielsen looks like he's running through like a field, but then it's like a movie projector. Like they pan out to reveal that. And it's like, which like that joke doesn't even work. Cause it's like, we know he was working out at the aerobics club. So why would all of a sudden we're supposed to believe he's now outside of the aerobic? Like I don't know. Like nothing about that makes sense. Like why would they have, I don't know. It's like, they're trying to convey the idea that he's working out by running, but why? But it's like too far of a leap in logic. We already think it's weird that he's outside all of a sudden. I don't know. So like the joke just doesn't work.
On the flip side, though, that scene does feature quite a few long butts.
Oh yeah, lots of long butts in that scene. Those were good. I liked those long butts. Ned Beatty, I'm going to disagree that he's good in this. He's
really.
Pretty bad in this.
Oh, come on. Speaking ill of the recently dead?
Well, at least he's recently dead. He's not going to get the JFD curse and pass on. But I mean, like at least like that's like an attempt at some sort of satire because they're like kind of goofing on like Tammy Faye and Jim Baker and like the televangelists of the 80s and stuff. But
it doesn't really go anywhere. Like, I think that is like maybe that is the one area in which you could kind of maybe build something interesting with this movie, because it's like that's kind of like the modern thing that has changed between the 70s and 1990 when they make this is what's different in religion. Well, televangelist is a big thing. So I actually don't know why it wasn't the televangelist who tries to do the exorcism. Like, wouldn't that be the angle?
Yeah, that would be the angle, and that would be the way to get this third subplot connected to one of the other subplots somehow.
Yeah, but instead it's just kind of like, well, they dip in for a minute to kind of take advantage of this situation, but then they don't really matter in the long run at all anyway, so who cares?
Yeah. And yeah, it introduces the idea that Reagan can like go on TV and then I guess use television to corrupt the world. Which I don't know. I guess that's the plot of this movie. But yeah, so I don't know. I wish I would have written down all the worst jokes from this, but because like they're all just like so not even memorable, really. Like a lot of the dopey stuff that happens in this, sadly. So I didn't really care for this movie.
Did you care for the fact that they utilized the film breaking during the movie thing? I think 2 months after Gremlins 2 was in theaters. So I wonder on that one, like, could that just be kind of a happy accident? Or I'm thinking motherfuckers like did rip off Gremlins 2 directly with that shit.
They very well could have ripped off Gremlins. It did, like, I did notice that was like a little too witty for this movie. So they very well could have ripped off Gremlins, but that was kind of cool. And like, even then, like, I mean, like the whole thing is like, I think like Leslie Nielsen's like, you can't do anything that scares me. And she's like, well, what if I break the film? And then the film breaks. And that was kind of witty. I enjoyed that, but it is probably just taken straight from Gremlins.
Would you say that you are at least glad that you saw this? Because, when I was watching it, I'm like, this is bad, but I do kind of appreciate this time that I'm getting to spend with Linda Blair playing this character again. And I like that I witnessed this, even though it's inarguably like just a bad movie.
Yeah, I'm glad I watched it. I've been wanting to watch it for a long time. I'm trying to get through all of Julie Strain's movies. So I'm glad I knocked this one off the list. Let's see how far along on Letterboxd I've gotten. But also the Gene Oakerlund thing. I'm glad to see this because of him. Him and Jesse Ventura are by far the funniest part of this, I thought. But the one joke they have is that they're like commentating over the climax, like the climactic exorcism. And it goes on for like a long time. Like it is really just like a thing where like they're there for like 15 minutes, just kind of explaining what you're watching in the movie. So I felt like it kind of wore out its welcome, but I did think they were the funniest part. And there is a part where like Jesse Ventura's like, oh, Mean Gene, it looks like he's having a heart attack. And then Mean Gene says something like massive coronary. And I thought that was kind of funny. See, it's funny. Let's see. I've now watched 29 of 118 Julie Strain movies. So I've got a ways to go.
Very nice.
So if you want to pick the movie Rowdy Girls, starring Julie Strain and Shannon Tweed at some point, be my guest.
Well, speaking of picks, I mean, you've got the power to make that happen as soon as right now for a movie that we'll be watching this coming week. So I'm not opposed to, stringing together a series of strains. Strain stringing,
That would be nice to do. But next week is May. Anime, some call it.
Oh. Is it the return of anime?
It is the return of anime. And
again, in Japan, that's, kind of common.
Exactly. And also, I've invited on our man Hatless Jackson. He does not have a hat, but he does like animation, and I've allowed him to pick the movie. Going trying a new thing here. And Jackson has picked a movie that I will relay to you now. It is widely regarded as a classic of the genre, of the animation genre, and that's 1993's Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, okay. I've seen this. It's been 20 years or something, but yeah, I look forward to talking about it. Have you seen it before?
I have seen it one time before, but I feel like I didn't give it a fair shake, so I'm excited to watch it again. I feel like I was like busy or something, and so I just like kind of was only half watching it. But I believe it's the only theatrical animated Batman movie ever. So,
did those Lego Batmans get a run?
Yeah.
Do they count?
Yeah, that was theatrical. I think that doesn't count. That's neither Batman nor animated.
It's barely Lego, if you ask me.
Yeah, that doesn't count for crap. But people. There's a whole vocal cult out there that say this is not only just the best like animated Batman movie, but this is the best Batman movie. So I'm excited to find out if that's true.
Yeah, and at a minimum, it should give us an opportunity to talk again about how shitty that last live-action Batman movie was with the fat suit Colin Farrell.
I hate that fucking movie so much.
And they're making another one, right? Isn't there another one coming out that's going to be just like it?
Yeah, they are doing another one.
Great.
I don't know why. Why just have him mope around? Just 90 minutes, or not even 2.5 hours of a guy just crying. Like, fuck it. Why not? Like that's all this movie was. Just a guy moping around doing stupid shit.
I mean, if I wanted that, I could have just watched Dune.
True. That's what's going to overtake these superhero and Marvel movies at the box office. It's just guys moping around, just like skinny emo boys moping around, like in Dune and Batman.
We've entered the Mopiverse, I guess. I suppose. It's a weird time.
The Mask of the Phantasm. That's what Jackson has picked. He will be joining us. He doesn't wear a hat.
Very nice. Well, I look forward to it. I look forward to inspecting the hatted status of Jackson Stewart. Well, you know what? I'll determine for myself how hatted or not this man is. But I think you're probably right. He probably is hatless. Until next week, please do all of the things that we tell you to do every week. Please go to junkfooddinner.com, where you can get all of your back episodes of JFD and JFS. Please send us an email at jftpodcast@gmail.com, or even better, please leave us a voicemail at 347-746-JUNK. That's 347-746-5865. Or please just add it to your cell phone so that you can call us, when the mood strikes. You could do all of those things. You can go to patreon.com/junkfooddinner if you want to check out our bonus content. Still doing that, still having fun doing boner episodes. So check those out. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, all the things. And until next week, this is your friend, Sen Byro, for your other friend, Perky Beantown Bowman, and even Kevin Moss, and even Jackson Stewart, saying keep washing them dishes.
And also Gonzo. Well, you can probably hear.
Before we went on air, we just learned that longtime daytime TV staple Jerry Springer has passed away at age 79.
Yeah.
I loved his show. I'm not afraid to say it. He was a great guy and he was really fun, and that show was as crazy as it gets. But there's a place for everyone here.
The Mayor of Cincinnati.